Unlock your best physique with simple, effective, and tailored nutrition strategies for your goals. So, this is the stuff that I wish I was told at the start. Everything that we are about to cover about nutrition is really going to be the thing that drives your results. Do not make the mistake that I did for years and committed hours to training and did nothing outside the gym. Committed hours to training but wasn't fueling my body right to actually see the results I should have been making. So this is your ultimate guide to nutrition. We are going to cover knowledge, what are macronutrients. We're then going to break down how to calculate your macros, how to calculate your calories, and how to adjust week on week to see progress, whether it is losing weight or gaining muscle. So straight in, why this guide matters. See, a lot of meal plans aren't tailored for you. Everyone has different dietary needs. This guide is going to help you understand macros and create a sustainable plan. Just because you've seen someone eating recipes on social media, or you see your favorite influencers posting what they eat, it doesn't mean you're going to get their results from doing the same thing. Your calorie burn is different. Your required calorie intake is different. Your metabolism will be different. These things change drastically person to person, and truthfully, they change drastically between different times of your life. Whether you're doing a really active job, whether you're doing more of a desk job, whether you have a lot of muscle, whether you're less muscular and trying to build muscle. So a lot of factors change this, and that's why it's so crucial that you understand what factors you actually need to control to see progress. So, understanding macros. Now, your three macronutrients are carbs, proteins, and fats. We'll speak about proteins first because we all love protein. It's plastered everywhere in shops right now. So, proteins help build muscle, repair tissues, and aid in organ systems function. So, proteins have 4 calories per 1 gram. Now, you would die if you didn't have protein. You would. You couldn't survive without it. It is essential for some of your organs to function. It is essential for your overall health. But when in a fitness journey, it is more crucially important for building muscle and repairing tissues. When you're in the gym, you tear the tissues down. When you rest and recover, that's when the muscles grow and repair. So protein, if you don't have it, if you don't eat it, you'll lose muscle, you won't have muscle. So it's crucial. Carbohydrates up next. Carbohydrates are the body's main energy source. Carbohydrates are what your body wants to run off of, really. Your body enjoys carbohydrates, it uses them very effectively, and most people are going to really like having a good balance of good carbs. If you took away those carbs and went into keto, you would find that most people would crash and have very, very low energy. So carbohydrates also have 4 calories per 1 gram. And then fats. Now, fats provide energy. They're also crucial in hormone production, cell growth, and storing energy. So the way that I like to think about fats is that they have more calories, more than double the calories of carbohydrates and protein. So 9 calories per 1 gram. Now this means that they take longer to burn. But that then means that you've got more energy throughout the day. So having good fat sources can stop you having that like 3 p.m. crash when you really start getting depleted. Having good fat sources for breakfast, for lunch, can help you have the same energy throughout the day. and they are super important in hormone production. If you had no fats in your diet, you would die eventually. However, first, if you had poor quality fats or no fats, you would find that you get very fatigued, very lethargic. You would start to see some negative health consequences. You would start to see low libido. You would start to, females would get in a worse state than males, maybe losing their cycle and potentially struggling to get it back. So that is your macronutrients. Carbs are the only ones that aren't essential. You could survive with no carbs, but most people don't want to do that. And the only thing, additional calorie intake, is from alcohol. Alcohol has 7 calories per 1 gram. So that's one to consider, but obviously alcohol isn't required in the diet, and most people should never drink alcohol. So, the importance of macros. Now, this is a mistake I very much made, and this is a mistake that the majority of the population is living in. See, there's a period in time where I didn't care about protein, or I didn't care about fats and carbs. I only cared about protein. This then meant that I was eating a high protein, high fat, high calorie, or high carb diet. Now, when you pair high fats and high carbs, you increase the risk of heart disease and other diseases because of the saturated and trans fats. Both fats and carbohydrates are very calorie dense. They're very easy to eat. Like a bowl of chips that have been deep fried are very easy to eat. A bag of crisps is very easy to eat. What these foods do is they cause more satiation. They make you hungrier. You know, if you've ever been like in a car journey and someone pulls out a snack, you say no initially, I'm not that hungry, and then you maybe have a couple of crisps. You then find yourself getting more hungry and eating more food. It's because fats and carbs are very easy to eat and they actually do make you hungrier. So, if not careful, a high fat and high carb diet can lead to overeating, which contributes to the weight gain. So, most people are living in this realm because high fat, high carb are cheap and they're easy to get. Fast food places, they're not high in calories because of protein, they're high in calories because they're high in carb and fats. Your sauces, Chinese, Indians, all of those things, pizzas, Pizza Hut, Domino's, whatever, it's not the protein that's getting you, it's the high fat and high carb content. High carb diet can lead to spike in blood sugar and insulin, especially if the carbs are refined and processed. So your sweets, your treats, your bakery goods, all those things, the things that aren't great for you, can have a negative effect. And this can be a concern for those with insulin resistance or diabetes, and can actually contribute to insulin resistance and diabetes. So, why balance matters? Because macros are more important than calories. Let's imagine a diet. Let's imagine I ate 3 different diets for 3 months straight, right? 3 months of each diet. I ate 3,000 calories of just olive oil. The next month, I ate 3,000 calories of just Skittles. The next month, the 3 months later, I ate 3,000 calories of just chicken. Or you could compare 3 different individuals that have only ever eaten these 3 things for their entire lives. Now, do you think those 3 people are going to look vastly different? Of course they are. The person that only consumes fat is going to look a pretty miserable way. The person that only consumes Skittles, only carbohydrates, that person's going to look pretty not great. The person that only eats chicken and only eats protein, well, that person might be pretty jacked, but still not great only eating one. If you were to compare someone eating 3,000 calories of just Skittles or someone eating 3,000 calories of chicken, rice and veg, those are going to be pretty drastically different looking people. So that's what I like to keep in mind. Your macronutrients determine how you look. Your calories determine how much you weigh. If proper protein intake is disregarded, you'll lose some muscle as well as fat. Right? So most people that lose weight, they lose 50% muscle and 50% fat. The majority of people do not have 50% of muscle to lose and could end up in a worse off state because of it. So we want to make sure that we are looking after our protein intake. So, how to calculate your macros? First off, what's your goal? Have you built some muscle and are you pretty comfortable to maintain? Are you wanting to go into a surplus and build muscle? Are you wanting to lose fat? Now, to calculate your macros, first off, you need to calculate your calories. Now, I would very much just suggest using an online calorie calculator. I could give you the formula, but honestly, it's a wee bit more complicated. Just use an online calculator. You punch in the information about your current body, and it will spit out a number. This number can be a rough estimate, and it's an estimate. However, it's something to work off of. And I'm going to tell you how to get the results you want in a wee second by manipulating those numbers and some other factors. So having a rough estimate is going to be far better than nothing at all. And if you're calculating using an online calculator, look for the Harris-Bennett formula. That one seems to be the most accurate. Okay, so setting protein. The myths of quick fixes. So most guys think, I've heard about people cutting and bulking. What I'll do is I'll bulk for 6 weeks, I'll bulk for 8 weeks, and then I'll cut for 6 weeks to 8 weeks. Theory sounds great. However, rarely effective because muscle grows at the rate of grass or at the rate of your high school beard or my current beard because I can't grow anything. It grows very, very slowly, which is a shame. But losing fat can happen very, very quickly. But sustainable progress requires caution and consistency, which I'll speak about in a wee second. So the amount of time it takes to lose fat massively, or the amount of time it takes to build muscle massively outweighs the amount of time it takes to lose fat. So you can't just cut and bulk for the same periods of time. You need to have adequate length of time to see as much weight loss as you want and as much muscle gain as you want. But I can guarantee muscle grows slower than you will ever want it to. So we need to account for that when we're planning, and we definitely don't want to stay in a calorie surplus for too long and we end up gaining too much weight by being too reckless with it, which I'll speak about in a second. Progress is either direction: build muscle or lose fat. Stick with one. Don't try and do both. You will mess that up and you'll see no results. If right now you're asking, where do I start? The majority of people should start with a cut and then go into a calorie surplus. You should lose the weight first and then build the muscle. The simple reason is because, one, it will teach you very, very good habits. Trying to lose weight will teach you how to track your calories, how to measure progress, how to be consistent. Two, majority of people need to lose more fat than they think. Majority of people need to get visible abs before then building muscle. It makes your body more sensitive to food, and you'll be more likely to put on a faster amount of muscle. So do that first. Set realistic goals and expectations based on your timelines and efforts. If you're expecting to lose 40 pounds in 6 weeks, you're probably going to have to adjust your timelines. If this is your January goal to lose weight or to build muscle, you're probably going to have to scope out and plan out the entire year. And if you've got a busy lifestyle or your effort levels vary, you're going to need to plan for that as well. Do not underestimate or overestimate what you are capable of. Avoid falling for drastic diets. Don't follow any fad diets. Really, anything you see online, it will just be there to harbour your attention and sell their program or sell something to you. Whether it's the carnivore diet trying to sell you beef jerky and supplements, it all is a just fad. The best approach is to have a balanced diet and follow either high protein, high carb, low fats, or high protein, high fats, low carb. Either of those two, however, the majority of people are going to find that they respond better to high carbohydrates. Okay, so calculate your protein. Aim for 1 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. For this example, we're going to use 230 grams, equaling 920 calories, because there is 4 calories in 1 gram of protein. When it comes to balancing your carbohydrates and your fats, this is really personal preference. But as I said, the majority of people are going to enjoy and find it easier to have high carbs and controlled fats. Very, very few people are going to respond well to the high fat, low carb diet. I personally prefer carbs over fats, and I keep my fats between 50 and 80 grams. This is 50 and 80 grams of high quality fats, not crap like trans fats or saturated fats. We want to make sure that it's good quality fats. I tend to stay on the lower end of that scale, 50. However, just be aware, if you go any lower than 50 grams, you're probably exposing yourself to health risks, and the fact that, again, fats are essential and essential for hormone production. And if you're a female watching, do not go under 50 or 40 grams of fats. It will mess you up. But for this example, the majority of people have an issue with keeping their fats low, so let's go with 80 grams to start, right? So some quick maths. Of our 1,580 calories, we've now allocated a bit more to fats. So 80 grams of fats equaling 720 calories, because 80 grams times 9 equals 720. This leaves us with the rest to carbohydrates. So 860 calories to be exact. If we know that carbohydrates are 4 calories per gram, then 860 divided by 4 equals 215 grams of carbohydrates. So we now have a total of 2,500 between our protein, fats and carbs. I've actually just seen an error in this. So our protein intake is at 230 grams of protein. Our fat should be at 80. I've clearly typed that in wrong. And then our carbs are at 215. So we've just worked out our calories and figured out the macros between that two. So, things to do for weight loss. If your goal is to lose weight, adjustments will need to be made to your carbs, fats, and cardio. We do not adjust the levels of protein, because if you lower the levels of protein, you will lose muscle. That's it, especially if you're in a calorie deficit. After tracking your intake according to your macros for a full week, if you don't see a weight drop, choose from the following adjustments. Cut out 20 grams of carbs daily. Cut out 9 grams of fat daily. Add 15 minutes of steady state cardio. Add 5 minutes of HIIT cardio. All these modifications are absolutely moderate. Do not double them up. It will result in a plateau. Give every adjustment a full week before making another adjustment. So only choose one. Do not try and fire in loads. Do not add in all of these things in 1 week. You'll only result in a plateau. Slower wins the race when it comes to a cut. So, to gain muscle. To gain muscle, adjustments will need to be made, but in the opposite direction, at a slightly different rate. When losing weight, adjustments need to be made every time you don't hit a new low on the scales. However, muscle doesn't grow as fast as we said. If you gain 1 pound each week when trying to build muscle, that rate is probably too fast. You're probably gaining more fat than muscle. So during a bulk, we want to ensure the scales don't go up too much. And if it does, you'll want to make sure you're making the adjustments from the last page, right? You want to make adjustments in the opposite direction if you're not gaining. So add 25 grams of carbs daily. Add 11 grams of fats daily. Remove 50 minutes of steady state cardio. Remove 5 minutes of HIIT cardio. So those adjustments will help you build muscle week on week. Again, keep your protein the same. Make sure that you're hitting that 1 to 1.2 grams. That doesn't change. Unless your weight goes up drastically in muscle weight and lean tissue weight, but that will happen very, very gradually. You won't need to just stick with the same protein, right? So, let's talk about bulking. Now, there's 2 different ways to bulk. There's the eat everything, track nothing, and there is the dedicated macro warrior. So, the pros to eating everything and tracking nothing: you won't need to worry about slipping below maintenance because your surplus will thrive. You'll be way above your calorie maintenance. But you risk excess body fat, which, to be honest, isn't a great thing. You want to stay lean, stay relatively defined. A wee bit of tissue gain can be okay. But the pros to dedicated macro warrior is you'll maintain leanness and definition while still gaining muscle effectively. So calorie surplus equals growth. One should expect the level of body fat to go up during this phase. Keeping your macros slightly above maintenance will help the leanness while allowing for growth. Bulking requires eating more calories than you burn. A slight calorie surplus ensures you won't grow without unnecessary fat gains. So, if you want to get shredded, here's what it takes. Leanness requires a macro and calorie deficit. Without adequate protein, your body will shred muscle alongside fat. Common misconceptions: maintaining the same diet while expecting fat loss is unrealistic. Your body will adjust to the deficit, and fat loss may stall without proper adjustments. So what you'll see most people do in a calorie deficit is pick a number and stick to that. So say someone isn't tracking their calories, has no idea what they're eating. However, that might be around 3,000 calories for the average male, right? And he decides, screw it, I'll just go down to 2,200 straight away. He's just put himself in an 800 calorie deficit, and he will drop weight quickly. However, he will stall, and then what all he has to do is drop his calories even more. Now this guy that's maybe 90 kg is only eating 1,900 calories, or even less, and he will stall again. And then what happens? He has to drop his calories again. So now he's only on like 1,500. That is pretty unhealthy. That'll lead you down some bad roads. That is not sustainable. Start off in maintenance, slightly taper back with the adjustments I've suggested. Adjust for progress. Decrease intake or increase activity levels when your fat loss stalls. Monitor your burn rate and make changes, but not drastically. Be mindful, aggressive deficits can lead to exhaustion, hunger, and metabolic damage. Slow and steady wins the race on this one. So, now you know how to calculate your macros, what your macros are, how to make adjustments week on week to see results. Trust me, you follow this guide, you will see the progress you want. But I want to reiterate 2 points. Pick one goal and stick with it. Do not try to do both. Pick fat loss or pick muscle gain. Stick with one. And number 2 is, if you're investing hours in the gym each week, just track your damn calories. It's something that I wish someone had said to me. It really isn't that hard. You get very good at it. It becomes a habit. It really is quite simple to do. And if you track your calories and you're consistent with it, you'll see far more results than thinking of doing guesswork and not being accurate with it. So if you're investing hours into the gym, just use MyFitnessPal and track your calories. So, implement what I spoke about. If you've got any questions, message me on Instagram at renegade.coaching. Renegade.coaching. And if you want me to fire a plan together that is all encompassing, that has your nutrition guide, your training protocols, your day-to-day habits, and your mindset all wrapped up in one, then message me on Instagram or click the link in my bio on Instagram.